There are a lot of very interesting characters in Black Clover, but one I think that hasn't got nearly as much spotlight as I think he deserves, but I feel like he's gonna be much more along the way. And part of that is with Rades or Rades, however it's properly pronounced. I don't remember proper pronunciations, but with him, he has the potential to become the most powerful character within the Black Clover world. There is a massive well of just like potential strength that dwells within this character, even from somebody who only has one page in his grimoire and only two spells out of it. But those two spells give him absurd levels of possibilities. So if you don't know anything about Raditz, or you just want the recap, he's a very interesting character in the concept that he's one of those that has a backstory where it's designed to make you feel bad for him. But with how many characters end up trying to do that nowadays, there's a lot of kind of ones that you're just like, I could get that it sucked for you, but you overreacted and you pretty much are still the bad guy. With Raditz, I don't see that, because the fact that he wasn't screwed over from doing anything bad at all. His magic, his necromancy magic, I think it's what called soul. I think it's just straight like soul seath magic. I'm trying to remember the exact name of what his magic is off the top of my head. Soul corpse magic. But because of that, he was kind of like viewed by people as a bad guy. There are all these people that are like, well, it's a very malefic sounding magic. There's nothing from necromancy, creating zombie corpses and whatnot, that seems like it'd be on a good guy. But because of that, he was very discriminated against, because of his position in society. I believe he was a commoner. I'd have to go back and double check. But I believe that because of that, that kind of like toppled on it again. And he was very strong. He was a very powerful individual. There again was a lot to what his magic was capable of, but because of the way that people viewed him, on top of being a member of the Purple Orcas, which were already a very corrupt Magic Knight Order, maybe not entirely, but obviously their leader with Goldry, at least at the time, being very into black market deals and just a lot of all around shady and criminal activities. And because of that, he was kind of like shunned and eventually driven out, where it wasn't his actions that caused like his character to be destroyed and cast out of the Clover Kingdom. It's because of the fact that they viewed him to be a potential villain, and just under the complete assumption that led to the besmirchment of his character, and eventually his banishment, and him becoming a bit crazy. And again, that's one of those times where it's very understandable why characters would view it, because it's a very bad guy kind of like themed power, but because of the way that the characters kind of like assumed that he was gonna be like, that is actually what drove him into the position that he ended up becoming. But because of this, he's I think much more like capable and powerful, because of now that he's going to become, he became a bad guy, not like evil. He's not like, I want to go around murdering everyone. He's much more of like specifically, against the Clover Kingdom. But I think, but part of the potential for the danger in his character is the fact that he's down this line where he will become like a very evil character, because of his soul corpse magic. Soul corpse magic, he can pretty much bring a corpse back from the dead as a zombie, and he can have very like plain like generic zombies and mass hordes, but he can also have ones of mages and wizards coming back with their magical powers and their spells. We don't know what the full extent of that is. Like, we haven't seen them like pull out a grimoire. It seems much more of this like kind of in Black Clover, you can use magic without a grimoire. A grimoire just in general increases the potential, the possibilities of your magic. Without it, you're still able to use spells, but just a named spell specifically is much more powerful than just raw manipulation of the magic. And it's because of that, you kind of got to think, like, with Rill is very powerful because of the fact that his magic, his painting magic, he can make all these different elements and constructs and familiars and all these different things. But with Radis, it's not only the ability to, you know, bring back corpses, he's got their magic. And you gotta keep in mind, you know, we've seen some of his Carl, what were all his, Jimmy, and then like one that was made up of two different captains, Michael Caesar, and you know he was able to use what was it? I think like water magic and Thor magic. It might have been metal magic. I don't think it was wind and spike magic. And, you know, that obviously creating a very dangerous combination for the guy. But you gotta, like I said, you gotta keep in mind, what is the extent that he's gonna have? Because not only is he like got like a very powerful potential of summons of familiars, you know, he could, you know, pull up, but you gotta keep in mind, the idea in somewhere in Black Clover, there's probably a crypt, you know, a crypt with all the previous Wizard Kings, you know, Magic Emperor skin, whatever you prefer, somewhere within there. Imagine him going there. Imagine him going there and having more than 24 different, you know, characters of that caliber with whatever crazy broken magic they have along the way. Any character that dies, he can still bring them back. And even without a grimoire, you know, time magic, like imagine as a Julius Novachrono zombie, he's still got time magic. He's still got freaking time manipulation magic. And there's 27 Wizard Kings before him. The only one that doesn't seem he'd probably be able to have is Lumiere, because Lumiere is kind of like in this weird situation. But 26 more you kind of see. And then there's the kind of the fact that, okay, he's a familiar. He's a familiar summoning character. He's all around summons. You know, he's got these zombies, these corpses, that it's like, okay, he has them fight. It's like, okay, attack his body. He's frail. You know, he's not gonna, you know, his creations, or rather, his zombies are going to be powerful. They're going to be a threat, but the caster is not going to be, you know, a big thing. You know, it's a lot of kind of like traditional things. A lot of more traditional mages and spellcasters who are much more like stand back. They're either casting long range spells or they have, again, familiars, where they're, you know, as the caster, they're not used to taking damage, so their body isn't going to be as durable as someone, you know, like Asta, who, you know, his body is very durable from, you know, lots of physical conditioning, but also, you know, it used to being, you know, able to take lots of damage, whereas Rades probably not. But then it's like, okay, what was the reveal this arc that made him absurdly overpowered? So he actually, on his one page of magic, there is one spell on the one side that lets him make zombies, and on the other side there is another spell. What is that other one? Maybe it's an enhancement of his zombies. Maybe it's a zombie summons. No, it's a self-resurrection in anyone around him. So he should be able to, at any point he dies, or his zombie dies, bring them back from the dead. Imagine you're fighting one of these powerful zombies, and you're like, sweet, okay, I got an opening. It took all my power to get past this terrifying, like, captain-level zombie and take a shot at Rades himself, and then, you know, his grimoire automatically, as we saw already, automatically resurrects him. So unless you do something like deplete his magic entirely, do some crazy sealing technique, have some crazy hacks, like a full, like, body, like, disintegration, you're not taking the guy down, because not only is he very smart, like, in fighting, he's tactical, he's not going to let you get close to him, but if you get in that close attack, unless you have a way to prevent it, he's going to come back from the dead, and he's going to bring his zombies back from the dead. So keep this in mind. With the 3 members of his crew that, you know, potentially are, you know, defecting, you have Sally, who people believe that Sally is going to join the Clover Kingdom. You know, it seems very likely to her. You know, it seems like, you know, she fits into the Black Bulls, especially after her, you know, having a near-death experience, you know, being brought back from the dead. Well, I guess that's not really near-death, that's from the dead and back again. She's kind of calmed down. She's still like her wild, kooky self, but she's not as like crazy dangerous. She's more of just like crazy fun. With Valtros just kind of wants to see what's going on with who he thought was Lick, but it's actually Patri. He might end up just going with the elves or joining the Clover Kingdom. You know, he seems kind of like a very like somber kind of like position. But with Rades, I don't see him just switching back and being like, all is forgiven, I want to be part of the Clover Kingdom again. I see his character going off, and you can kind of just think of, he could be a one-man faction. You can imagine, like, you know, how you saw, like, oh, we're finally seeing the Eye of the Midnight Sun or the Diamond Kingdom, and you see some of their inner headquarters and their characters are, like, talking and be like, oh, okay, let's do this. You could get that with Rades, just Rades, because he talks to his zombies. He talks to them in normal conversation like he's talking to a normal person. And you can just imagine, like, an entire base. Like, okay, we gotta raid this compound. There's 500 people inside. 500 people, just imagine something like that. And 499 of them are zombies, and one of them is Rades. He could have, again, his entire faction, literally just zombies. Just him and zombies. And he talks to them, has communications with them, and it would, like, open up a way to, like, just, like, flesh out his character, but also, like, have all these powerful characters. You know who they are, or, like, you know, that he could set up an old Wizard King, you know, Wizard King number 15. We don't know anything about them, but we could find out about them. Like, could you imagine Rades talking to them, like, going over their history, like he's having a conversation, like, haha, I remember that time you did this thing, and he's acting like they're friends, like he was there, but because, you know, he's crazy and he has conversation with these zombies, we could get both, like, development and, like, progress of his character and, like, fleshing out, building up, like, him as a person and, like, how insane he is, but also, like, lore on the other Wizard Kings or whatever characters he brings back. Because there's a lot of potential in his character. He, again, could potentially become the most powerful character in Black Clover. Is he right now? He's obviously not that powerful. He's like, in an area, I feel like, it depends on what which of his zombies he has, but I feel like he's around Vice Captain level. But as he is, like, he could just skyrocket beyond it because his is not dependent on his power. His is dependent on what corpses he can get his hands on. And again, like, imagine him going into a crypt with old Wizard Kings in it and just, like, raising his hands and bringing back 24 plus zombified Wizard Kings with such an arsenal like that. He could literally have his own arc as a villain where it's just him. So look forward to that. Again, he's one of my favorite characters within the series, and it's a strange because he doesn't have a lot of showings, and it's not like Mars, where Mars is a very important character in a future arc we know is set up with the Diamond Kingdom. Rades is a very much kind of like question mark. We don't know what Tabata's plans are with him, but again, that's part of the fun, the speculation of what he's going to be coming out with. So look forward to that. I'm very much wanting to see this character. I am very interested in what he's going to display and what exactly we're going to be getting from Rades. So until then, drop a comment below and what you think about all this, what you think about this character, and how you think his area is going. Which other characters are you really interested in seeing? Like, we don't have a lot of outside of the elves. We have, you know, a character like Rades, as well as, like, the Witch Queen and the Diamond Kingdom. And there's some other stuff we haven't seen yet, but we know they exist. Other than that, again, comment below, thumbs up the video, but for the like button and the subscribe button, and check out my other videos. But other than that, I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed, and I thank you all for listening. Bye.